Oh, God, please, please.
Don't upset yourself like this, Beth. He's in good hands. And he'll have the best that money can buy.
I promise, Francie, that if you get better, I promise I'll take you away somewhere safe. I promise.
That dress. It's been so long since you wore it. 6 years, is it? Let me get Maeve to iron it for you.
No, thank you, Mother. It'll get creased again anyway. It's a long journey. You ought to get going, actually.
At least have some tea. Maeve went to a lot of trouble to get it for you on the black market. And as for sugar, I don't know what it's like down where you live, but up here in the city with this impossible war. Beth, you know we did what we thought was the best for you.
No, you didn't, Mother. You did what you thought was the best for you.
Oh, that's unfair.
Is it not? A little bit of courage, Mother. That's all it would have taken. One flurry of courage. Excuse me, I have to have a word with Maeve.
I'm sorry, I could only get one orange.
Maeve, you're too good to us. Parcels all these years.
Let me tidy up your hair for you, Missy. You can't go around like that. Here. Put this round your shoulders.
Maeve, I'll be coming back to Cork again as soon as I can. But, well, you know how it is between me and them. I don't want to have to ask them. Until I can get back up. Could you keep an eye on Francie for me in the hospital? I know it's a lot to ask, but it's not far from here.
You don't need to ask, Missy.
I'll probably have to stay the night, you know that.
Stay as long as you like. You always put her first anyway.
No, Corinne. I put you first 6 years ago, and I lost her. Every morning of my life, I wake up to the knowledge of what I let happen. I don't think we know the half of it. I want her back, Corinne.
Beth, wait.
What about the little boy?
Francie. What about him?
Someone from the family should be there to look after him.
Thank you, Mother.
I'll go up to the hospital this afternoon. If there's any news, I'll telephone. Try not to worry, Beth.
Goodbye, Mother.
I kept back a bit of chocolate, Mum. You can bring it up to him for when he wakes.
Try not to worry about the little lad. You know what children are. He'll be grand. Before you know it, he'll be grand.
I have to be with him. Look, Daddy, I know it's a lot to ask, but do you think you could stay long enough for me to sort things out and get the children looked after? And then maybe take me back to Cork?
Can't, Neely? Why not? In your own time, Beth.
What's going on? Mommy.
Oh my God,
We'd
Francie.
already left Cork. The guards couldn't reach you. I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, just tell me, Teddy, for
It's not
God's sake.
Francie. It's Neely.
Oh, thank God. What happened? Where is he?
He's taken away for a post-mortem. Take a drink, Lizzie. You have had a shock.
What happened?
I'm very sorry for your trouble.
Will you tell me what happened?
He was shot above in Knockanmalla.
He was shot. Who shot him?
Slut. It's your fault. My father was right. She's a slut.
You must be brave, my child. Accept the will of God.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm very sorry for your trouble and for the intrusion. I'm Inspector Clancy from Cork City. I know this is neither the time nor the place, but I'm sure you know we will want to talk to you. And no one here has any idea where we could find a young lad, Danny McCarthy?
What are you doing here? How dare you?
It was an accident, Kitty. I swear.
I don't believe you.
I swear my grandmother's grave.
Danny,
Kitty, I'm sorry to do this to you, but I've a very, very big favour to ask you. Will you tell Elizabeth I have to see her? I wouldn't blame you if you hated me for this, Kitty, but I'm begging you to be my friend now. You're my only hope. Look, my uncle has a little boat up in Derry Vega. Will you ask her to meet me there? Or she could come up here anywhere. Kitty, please.
Kitty? You all right? Kitty, hang on a minute. Shouldn't you be at home helping your mother? It's all right. Why don't you come on to my place for a while?
no thanks.
Please yourself. I have to go. I have to get this fella fixed up. to talk about it?
I know there was bad blood between you, Mossy, but if you knew Daddy the way I do... I mean, he wasn't what they all think he was. He wasn't. And if she hadn't behaved that way at Jimmy Deeney's dance, then... And now Danny McCarthy has the nerve to ask me to tell her he wants to see her. If he thinks I'm going to... Oh, Mossy.
Thank you.
The poor little fella. Is there no improvement at all, at all?
Drink.
I tried to be a good wife. I really did. But I can't honestly say I feel a wife's grief. I mean, sadness, I suppose. I wish I could turn back the clock. I wish... I don't know what I wish. But he didn't deserve to be shot.
Lazar, quandam culpare, eternal rest grant unto him, O Lord, and may perpetual light shine upon him. May his soul and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen. In paradisium deducanti angeli, in tuo adventus cipiate materes, et perducante in civitatum sanctum Deus. Oros angelorum te sucipiat, in the name of...
Hold it there! Hold it now! Hold it!
You stay here. Make sure he doesn't come ashore again.
Yes, sir.
Where's the owner of this vehicle?
Yes, Inspector.
Drive me to Ireland's. I have to get to a telephone. Come on, get a move on!
You were related to the deceased, I believe.
We were second cousins. And neighbours, of course.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there something about a will, land?
There are those on my side of the family who believe that Neely Scollard was a land grabber.
Is that what you believe?
Yes.
What time did you get home at that night, Mr. Sheehan?
I don't know, Inspector. I don't have a watch.
You did rush suddenly up that mountain, didn't you? Leaving 2 of your passengers in your vehicle.
I didn't say I wasn't up there that night.
Oh?
I thought I saw something.
Something? Like what, for instance?
Some of the fellas who shoot up there. Sometimes they only injure the animals which get away. I take them home, take care of them.
Very commendable. You're a shooter yourself, I take it. You're registered here as the owner of a shotgun.
That's right. But I shoot clean. I don't leave injured animals behind me.
Exactly what did you see when you got up there that night?
Nothing.
Well, let's put it another way. What do you think you saw?
I thought I saw movement. That's all. It was late. I was jumpy after the fight. It could have been a sheep or a stray bullock.
What did you do then?
I went home.
Anyone see you on the way?
No.
Wouldn't you say it's extraordinary, Mr. Sheehan? With hordes of people abroad that night, that quiet night of good weather, that no one, not one single person, saw or heard the shot that killed Neely Scollard. Is that a yes or a no?
I don't find it that extraordinary. People around here mind their own business.
Fair dues. A great send-off all the same. Guess who won't be shedding too many tears? Maybe we'll have a bit of fun again at the Will. That's a warm farm in Neely's. Shh.
What do you think, Blair? Do you think young Danny McCarthy's done what they say he done? Can't believe it's such a lovely young man. Do you reckon
Seems probably right then. You've got to listen to me, Elizabeth. He rushed me. He was very angry and I had the gun and he was going for it. I swear I did not pull the trigger. I love you, Elizabeth.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I do. I didn't do it, Elizabeth. The guards will have to believe me if you're on my side. You have to believe me.
I believe you.
Thank God. Oh, I love you, Will. I love you.
You shouldn't have run, Daniel. I don't think you know how serious this is. I hate myself for this.
You love me too, I know you do. The way we felt about each other when we were dancing.
But Daniel, you're 19.
Don't patronise me, Elizabeth. You think I'm only a child?
I'm not patronising you. Just think about it, Daniel. You misunderstood what happened that night. You read too much into it. What happened at the dance shouldn't have happened. Please, try to see it from my point of view. I have children, responsibilities. I can't tell you how wretched I feel about all this, and I'm not going to run away from what I've done. But it was never what you thought, Daniel. Oh, you've got to understand, these things do happen sometimes. They pass.
But it wasn't just something that happened. I know you feel the same way I do, Elizabeth. I know you do. We both felt it and it won't pass.
Please, concentrate. You're in terrible, terrible trouble. Now, since I have to take some of the blame, no, all of the blame for this mess you're in, I'm going to help you all I can. I'll go to the guards. They'll believe me.
The only thing that matters to me is you, Elizabeth.
I'm so sorry, Daniel. Look, one thing at a time. You're soaked. It can't be good for you. Stay here a minute. I'll go into the house and get you some clean, dry clothes and a bit of food. And a blanket. You can stay here for the night.
Elizabeth, don't go, please.
Look, just be a minute. Stay calm. I'll go to the guards first thing in the morning.
Glad to hear it, Mrs. Scullard. I apologise if, in watching your house, we alarmed you, Mrs. Scullard. But you have to see that from our point of view, we had to. It was logical he'd arrive there sooner or later. It's almost dinner time. Can we offer you something to eat?
No, thank you.
Now, to go back to your son and his injury.
We've already gone over this. It happened during a fight. I'm sure Neely never wanted to.
Rather a violent man, your husband.
He could be at times.
And provoked, for instance.
What do you mean by that? Look, I came here voluntarily to this police station, Inspector. Not to discuss my late husband's personality, but to tell you that I don't believe that Daniel McCarthy deliberately killed him.
With due respect, I don't believe that was a question I asked you, Mrs. Scullard.
It's what you believe, isn't it? Look, I admit that the circumstances look bad for Daniel. But you don't have any actual proof, do you?
Do I not?
Do you?
Tell me, Mrs. Scullard, why was he in your yard last night?
I don't like your inference, Inspector. Look, Daniel McCarthy is very young. He's just a boy.
Exactly.
And I am Neely's widow. Surely I, of all people, would like to see my husband's killer punished, if I thought it was deliberate murder.
And if, and I say if, that proved to be the case, and if this murder proved to be young McCarthy, would you want to see him hanged?
I came to see if you need help with the animals.
Why?
until you come to a permanent arrangement. I can start with the milking. Look, I know about Danny McCarthy being arrested here last night. I'm sorry that had to happen to you. On top of all this, I mean it. I'm sorry.
Thank you for the offer of help. I'll pay you, of course.
Of course.
One thing, Mossy. What you did at the graveyard.
I acted like a Christian in the graveyard, that's all. I did what anyone in my position would have done.
Sister. Sister. Hello, Francie. Hello there. You don't know me. But I know you.
Oh my God, Francie! Oh my God!
Morning.
God for that.
Harry, come on. Ryan.
You go on with the others, Ma. It won't be a moment. What is it, Mary? Look, I can't stop. The others are waiting.
I just wanted to say... I mean, just because... Look, Brian, we can still be friends, can't we?
I'm sorry. Don't blame yourself. I'm sorry.
They're saying it looks bad. That they'll hang him. But I can't honestly believe that, Tilly, can you? I mean, after all, he's only 19.
He did kill Neely, Lizzie.
You believe I'm to blame for all this, don't you? Just like the rest of them.
I'm your friend. I'll be there beside you in court tomorrow, and that's all that counts.
No one understands.
I understand, all right.
No, you don't. You can't. How could you?
No, how could I? Good old Tilly, joined at the hip to Mick Harrington since the flood. Not always, Lizzie.
I didn't mean...
Oh, you meant it all right. And I don't blame you for it. Look, do you think you're the first woman to fall in love with an unsuitable boy? Oh, don't look so shocked. It happens. Don't you think that if the women of Ireland followed what they really feel in their hearts, the whole country would crack open? But Danny McCarthy's only 19, Lizzie.
Don't you think I know he's only 19? Don't you think that tortures me? I don't know what came over me, Tilly. Sometimes I think I'm going mad.
We're made the way we're made, girl.
Some of us are made differently than others, though. I'm sorry, Tilly, I really...
No need.
For a while there, I really thought I was beginning to manage. I really thought I was in control. You know, but that side of things wasn't that important anymore. And then that night with George. And then... Oh, Tilly, the way dance together, I suddenly started to feel like me again. Like Beth, the young Beth. Not this shadow. It was very selfish of me. And I'm not proud of what I've done. But now I'm hanging. My God, what have I done?
Stop talking like that. You're doing the best you can, just like us all. It's getting late. I'll see you in the morning.
Will they hang him? What do you really think?
It's in God's hands now, and the jury's. All we can do is pray.
Good evening, Elizabeth. I have someone here with me who'd like to have a word. May I introduce a cousin of mine, Johnny Third Sheehan from our Groom Inwards.
Evening.
How'd you do?
I'll go on, so. Johnny?
It's about the stock, is it? I don't want to waste your time. I have to tell you that I haven't given much thought as to whether I'm going to sell or not. But come in, sit down. Would you have a cup of something, maybe?
I'm terrible sorry for your trouble, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll get glasses.
There's no man the length and breadth of Beara is such a triumph of cleverality as my cousin Mossy Brach Sheehan.
Beg your pardon? What has this got to do with cattle?
Well, I'm afraid it's a bit soon, ma'am, but we're just planting the seed, like. The early bird catches the worm. Isn't that right, missus? Now I'll get straight to the point, for the hour is late. No parish priest has ever had occasion to call on my cousin Mossy. No girl's father either.
Oh, my God.
No girl has ever had to take the boat or to be run pale-faced through the convent gates. Mossy suffers from no communicable disease, if you get my meaning. Forget the bad blood between ye. This is a heaven-sent opportunity to right the wrong that was done in the ancient times and to rejoin the lovely land of both your houses.
I know it's probably too soon, and I apologise for that.
I would like you both to leave now.
Can we have an understanding that we can come back again now that the ice is broken, like?
Johnny, wait for me outside. No on second thoughts, don't.
You both leave now.
Johnny. I apologise, Elizabeth. Bringing Johnny was a mistake. I can see that now. But that's how things are done round here. May I ask you myself to marry me when the time is right?
Didn't you understand me earlier? Land, land, land. Where Neely was right.
I'm not accustomed to begging. But will you at least think about it? Please, Elizabeth.
You are clearly stupid. Or deaf. How can I put it plainer than I have? And it's Mrs. Scollard to you. Believe it or not, I have some standards. And I would never marry the likes of you.
Is that so? The likes of me? You weren't always so particular, Miss High and Mighty Solicitor's daughter.
Get out!
There isn't one of us without our Achilles heel. And yours is men, isn't it? If you marry me, Elizabeth, in your own time, of course, I'll go to court. I'll say I saw what happened that night on the mountain.
You saw? My God.
He'll get off, probably, and then you won't have him on your conscience.
He'll get off? You mean it was an accident, like he said?
Probably.
Well, you have to go to the barracks now, right away. Tell them. What is it?
You'll marry me.
What?
Please.
God, how dare you? You were holding back, weren't you? You knew all the time. You're nothing but a... Well, if you think I'm not going to go to the police myself, tell them not only about your being there that night, but about this blackmail.
Elizabeth, let me explain.
It's perfectly clear. You peasant thug. I've a good mind to go to the guards right this minute.
Certainly, go to the guards. They know already I was up there. But being up there is not the same as seeing what went on up there, is it? Who do you think the guards will believe, Elizabeth? Who do you think a jury will believe? After your carry on with Danny McCarthy in front of everyone? I've heard it said you put the boy up to it.
What?
Yeah, that surprises you, doesn't it? They say that after Neely half killed your son, you had to protect the others. Now, as you so clearly know, we're all peasants round here. We understand the primitive. There's nothing as primitive as a mother's love.
You are unspeakable. All this for a few miserable clods of clay.
You don't know what you're talking about. My kin broke their back on what you'd like to call a few clods.
Oh, and now at least we're getting to the truth. And what about the law? You'll be under oath.
I'm surprised at you. This isn't a city.
I'll find some way.
No, you won't. Haven't you learned anything in the last 6 years? You're a runner here. You don't know the people you're dealing with. I suppose it's not your fault. Brought up with silk. It's hard to deal with sacks.
You know he'll be hanged, Mossy. Can you see him dangling? Choking. Crying for his mother. So you have nothing at all to say. You'll let him be hanged. Are you proud of yourself?
Are you, Elizabeth?
Get out! If you don't get out immediately!
What do you do?
Are you going to say you saw what happened?
If it please Your Honour, I would like to call Mr. Morris Sheehan to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Now, Mr. Sheehan, you too were at the dance in Castle Claw on that fateful night.
I saw what happened on the mountain.
I beg your pardon?
I saw what happened on the mountain that night.
Your Lordship, may I approach this witness? 2 minutes, I shall thereof. Did you know anything about this, Beth?
Silence in court.
You've already signed a sworn please your lordship, this witness now wishes to amend his sworn statement.
Is this the case, Mr. Shane?
Yes, your lordship.
And before we come now exactly to what you now say you saw, Mr. Sheehan, would it be fair to ask why you've waited until now to come forward?
The dead man and I were not exactly friendly, and that was well known in the district. I was afraid I'd be a suspect.
So what changed your mind? Could you enlighten us as to precisely when you found yourself setting off for Damascus?
The case this morning looked as if it was going very badly. I couldn't let the boy be condemned. I had to find the courage.
Very admirable, I'm sure. Now, could you tell his lordship and the jury what is your relationship with the widow of the deceased?
Mrs. Scullard is my nearest neighbour. She has a lot of young children, so I'm helping with her stock till she sorts things out.
And she pays you for this so-called help, does she not?
Yes, she does.
And your story, your current story, conforms with that of the widow and the boy himself. Is that not so?
Yes.
Is there any possibility that the sudden conversion that you've now undergone in this matter might have been the result of coaching?
What?
As we've heard from the other witnesses to the fracas at the dance, Mrs. Scullard is demonstrably a very persuasive woman.
I beg your pardon.
Has anyone at all told you what to say? Paid you, perhaps?
Absolutely not.
But you are a paid employee of the deceased's widow, are you not?
Yes, I am.
For the benefit of his lordship and the jury, could you now describe exactly where you were standing when you witnessed the fight between the deceased and the accused?
I came upon it as they were struggling together. I was quite close.
You know you are under oath, Mr. Sheehan.
I know what I saw.
What's keeping Daddy?
Calm down, it's only been a few minutes.
Congratulations, Daniel. You must be delighted.
Thanks, Elizabeth. It still hasn't sank in yet. All of it.
Your family must be delighted.
What do you do now?
We mustn't detain you. They're probably waiting for you crossing the pub.
Come on. In a minute. Look, that last 2 weeks, I'd never want to go through anything like that again. But I just wanted to thank you. I know you did your best for me.
Danny, come on.
In a minute. I'll be in a minute. You bastard. You let me stew in that jail and you knew the whole time.
For God's sake, can you think of anybody but yourself? Haven't you put Mammy and Daddy through enough? And if I catch you near that woman's house, near any of that family, I won't be responsible for my actions. I mean that.
Brian, keep out of this. I'm warning you. Mind your own business, okay? Brian, you haven't heard the last of me, Mossy Sheehan. Mark my words.
You didn't see it, did you?
Mrs. Scullard.
in good hands. And he'll have the best that money can buy.
I promise, Francie, that if you get better, I promise I'll take you away somewhere safe. I promise.
That dress. It's been so long since you wore it. 6 years, is it? Let me get Maeve to iron it for you.
No, thank you, Mother. It'll get creased again anyway. It's a long journey. You ought to get going, actually.
At least have some tea. Maeve went to a lot of trouble to get it for you on the black market. And as for sugar, I don't know what it's like down where you live, but up here in the city with this impossible war. Beth, you know we did what we thought was the best for you.
No, you didn't, Mother. You did what you thought was the best for you.
Oh, that's unfair.
Is it not? A little bit of courage, Mother. That's all it would have taken. One flurry of courage. Excuse me, I have to have a word with Maeve.
I'm sorry, I could only get one orange.
Maeve, you're too good to us. Parcels all these years.
Let me tidy up your hair for you, Missy. You can't go around like that. Here. Put this round your shoulders.
Maeve, I'll be coming back to Cork again as soon as I can. But, well, you know how it is between me and them. I don't want to have to ask them until I can get back up. Could you keep an eye on Francie for me in the hospital? I know it's a lot to ask, but it's not far from here.
You don't need to ask, Missy.
I'll probably have to stay the night, you know that.
Stay as long as you like. You always put her first anyway.
No, Corinne. I put you first 6 years ago, and I lost her. Every morning of my life, I wake up to the knowledge of what I let happen. I don't think we know the half of it. I want her back, Corinne.
Beth, wait.
What about the little boy?
Francie, what about him?
Someone from the family should be there to look after him.
Thank you, Mother.
I'll go up to the hospital this afternoon. If there's any news, I'll telephone. Try not to worry, Beth.
Goodbye, Mother.
I kept back a bit of chocolate, Mum.
You can bring it up to him for when he wakes.
Try not to worry about the little lad. You know what children are. He'll be grand. Before you know it, he'll be grand.
I have to be with him. Look, Daddy, I know it's a lot to ask, but do you think you could stay long enough for me to sort things out and get the children looked after? And then maybe take me back to Cork?
Can't, Neely? Why not? In your own time, Beth.
What's going on?
Mommy.
Lizzie,
God,
you'd
Francie.
already left Cork. The guards couldn't reach you. I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, just tell me, Tilly, for
It's not
God's sake.
Francie. It's Neely.
Oh, thank God. What happened? Where is he?
He's taken away for a post-mortem. Take a drink, Lizzie. You have had a shock.
What happened?
I'm very sorry for your trouble.
Will you tell me what happened?
He was shot above in Knockemalla.
He was shot. Who shot him?
Slut. It's your fault. My father was right. She's a slut.
You must be brave, my child. Accept the will of God.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm very sorry for your trouble and for the intrusion. I'm Inspector Clancy from Cork City. I know this is neither the time nor the place, but I'm sure you know we will want to talk to you. And no one here has any idea where we could find a young lad, Danny McCarthy?
What are you doing here? How dare you?
It was an accident, Kitty. I swear.
I don't believe you.
I swear my grandmother's grave.
Danny,
Kitty, I'm sorry to do this to you, but I have a very, very big favour to ask you. Will you tell Elizabeth I have to see her? I wouldn't blame you if you hated me for this, Kitty, but I'm begging you to be my friend now. You're my only hope. Look, my uncle has a little boat up in Derryvega. Will you ask her to meet me there? Or she could come up here anywhere. Kitty, please.
Kitty? You all right? Kitty, hang on a minute. Shouldn't you be at home helping your mother? It's all right. Why don't you come on to my place for a while?
no thanks.
Please yourself. I have to go. I have to get this fella fixed up.